My dear, loyal brothers, and my steadfast and true heirs, recently an important and worrying spiritual question was warned to my heart on behalf of the Risale-i Nur students. I later understood that the Risale-i Nur students' language of disposition raised and continued to ask the same question. Suddenly, an answer came to mind, and I said it to Feyzi. He said, at least a summary of it should be recorded. The worrying question. It is understood from narrations that hunger will play a significant role in this strife in Akhir Zaman. The people of misguidance will use it against the wretched impoverished people of belief to overwhelm them with the struggle for livelihood and thereby make them neglect religious sentiments or have them view it at a second or third degree in priority. Since in everything, even within determines the people of Iman and the innocent are made to suffer, there is an aspect of mercy for the wronged, and there is justice in the view of divine Qadar. How does it apply to this? And how is it that this calamity will, for the people of Iman and the Risale-i Nur students in particular, provide benefit with regard to their Iman and hereafter, and how will they respond to it and resist it? The answer. The most important reason for this calamity is the rebelliousness which comes from the denial of the bounties, the absence of thanks, and the lack of appreciation for the value of divine bounties. For this reason, by demonstrating the value of his bounty, especially in the category of nutrition, and especially of bread, which is the greatest bounty with respect to life, with the wisdom of deriving appreciation, the all-just wise one has given this calamity to those unappreciative people who do not abide by the religious asceticism, like in Ramadan, and thus manifest justice within complete wisdom. It is incumbent upon the people of belief, the people of truth, and the students of the Risale-i Nur that, like the religious asceticism practiced in Ramadan, they should endeavor to make this calamity of hunger a means for seeking refuge, repentance, and reliance with Allah. And it is to avoid opening the path to begging, stealing, and anarchy by using the excuse of necessity, zarure. And for certain wealthy people and some wage earners who do not feel pity for the poor, they too should listen to the Risale-i Nur, and through this first hunger, feel compassion for the hungry and run to their aid with zakat. And for the youth who have spoiled their nafs with delicious foods, and made it rebellious, and have intoxicated it with the urges of base desires and transgressions, through the guidance of the Risale-i Nur, they too should bravely benefit from these events by making it the means to withdraw from immorality and sins to a degree and suppress their excitement in the pleasures of the nafs and obscenities. By entering obedience and performing good deeds, they should turn that event from being against them and make it work in their favor. And for the people of worship and righteousness, in this age, when most people are faced with hunger, when possessions have become uncertain, and their states of haram and halal indistinguishable and questionable, they too should take on the manner of being content with what is necessary so as to make it halal to benefit from public goods, which are in spirit jointly owned, and should thereby view this compulsory calamity as a form of asceticism of the Sharia. They should respond to divine Qadar not with complaints, but with acceptance. I pass on many salams to all my brothers, particularly those who have experienced suffering, and pray for their well-being. Brother Sabri, for those who have sent their salams through your representation, I too nominate you and pass on my salam to each of them. This time, although your letter arrived late, it gave me great joy in a number of ways. It showed the diamonds and steel-like firmness of Sabri and the accuracy of his judgment. Since Hafiz Ali and yourself have deemed it suitable to communicate via the route of Atabey, inform me on the address of Abdullah Çavuş or some other person that you consider appropriate. We have had somebody scribe the second volume of the index, titled The 10th Ray, which was requested by Abdullah Çavuş on your behalf, and Feyzi has scribed the Hizbul Ekber al-Nuriye. We will send it to you soon, inshallah. Said Nursi. My dear, loyal brothers, the letters of Sabri and Hafız Ali this time demonstrate an extraordinary keramat and wonderful strength of the Risale-i Nur. The students in this area have felt great joy at the news that the hard-working and endeavoring students of the Madrasa Nuriye have undertaken to deliver within a few days the scribing of all the books which they have confiscated from Hafiz Mehmet. The news that, when investigators came to Hafiz Ali, they said, there is no paper left in the stores. The Risale-i Nur students have purchased all the papers, and that Mehmet Sühdü's books have been returned back to him gives the Risale-i Nur students a proud sense of incentive and encouragement. Sabri mentions in his letter that the Risale-i Nur appears to be undergoing a period of stoppage in regard to its writing, and asks for the wisdom in it. The answer to this is long. Moreover, its writing is not through our will. Also, certain significant causes and hindrances have prevented its composing so that the students of the Risale-i Nur can have a share in it. From among the hard-working female students, foremost Asiye and Ulviye and Lütfiye pass on their regards, salam, and dua to their sisters in the Madrasa Nuriye and return the salam of Sabri's wife and her sisters. We pass on our salam and dua to all our brothers. My dear loyal brothers, the letters written by the champion Tahiri and Osman the scribe have truly become like medicine for me. It has been a remedy for my part physical, part spiritual illness of anxiety. May Almighty Allah be eternally pleased with them and yourselves. Yes, your determination, steadfastness, ikhlas, and seriousness has and will continue to defeat the people of the world. Otherwise, their inability to arrest one man for 130 risales, while previously arresting 120 men for a single risale on the veiling of women, tasaddur, is most certainly due to your ikhlas and firmness. We congratulate Tahiri with all our being for traveling to Istanbul to have the Hizbul Ekber and Wirdul Azam printed, and we pray for his success. Besides Shafiq, there are many in Istanbul who are seriously connected to the Risale-i Nur, but I do not know their address. But via Shafiq, he can reach Hacı Bekir from Barla, Hafız Emin from İnebolu, who works in the office of liquidation, and Mehmet Efendi from Güran. A famous preacher apparently came to visit me through our friends in Istanbul and left without being able to see me. We send you the copy of a letter that was sent to another man. Perhaps there are some people there that can be addressed like him. The Risale-i Nur students who visited Istanbul have sent us news of your efforts and seriousness and your effective sermons. They wish to see a firm and sincere person like yourself within the circle of the Risale-i Nur. Like them, I too would seriously like to see you in the Risale-i Nur circle. You will know that the value of two alifs that are separate has the value of two. If they come shoulder to shoulder on one line, they have the value of 11. In the same way, if the service of Iman which you demonstrate through your effective sermons were to remain by itself, it would be very difficult for it to withstand the united attacks of the present time. If it joined the service of the Risale-i Nur, like those two alifs, it will gain the value and strength of 11, rather of 111, and can withstand the misguidance that is united against it. For the people of truth, this age is not the age of individuality and egotism. This age is the age of community, jama'ah. The collective character born out of the community will prevail and withstand. In order to obtain a large pool, it is necessary to throw one's ego and individuality, which is like a block of ice, into that pool and dissolve it. Otherwise, that block of ice will melt away and be wasted, and the opportunity of benefiting from the pool will be missed. It is both a cause of surprise and sadness that, while the people of reality and truth have lost the extraordinary strength in alliance through a dispute, the people of discord and the people of misguidance, despite it being contrary to their methods, are showing solidarity to acquire the significant strength within it. Although they make up 10%, they defeat the people of truth who are 90%. My dear loyal brothers, I am curious at this moment about when Hüsrev, Rüştü, Refet, and the Hafızali of Sparta will return from their military service. I am particularly interested in finding out when Hüsrev's pen will reunite with the victorious spirit of the Risale-i Nur. Notify them of my salam as well. 10 minutes ago from now, one out of the two men who were illiterate yet brave invited the other to the circle of the Risale-i Nur. I told them that, in return for the great rewards afforded by this circle, what is expected is an unwavering loyalty and unbreakable firmness. The basis of the marvelous Nur service shown by the Sparta champions, with which they challenged the world, is their marvelous loyalty and remarkable firmness. The first reason of this firmness is the strength of Iman and character of Ihlas. The second reason is natural courage. I said to them, you are known for your courage and influence and can demonstrate self-sacrifice for unimportant worldly matters. Surely then, in the sacred service of the Risale-i Nur, which yields rewards of the hereafter as valuable as the universe, you will show a brave and sacrificing courage and firmness and preserve your loyalty. They wholeheartedly accepted. My dear loyal brothers and my strong friends in the service of the Qur'an, this time I saw the champion Tahir on behalf of you all and witnessed in him a Lütfü, a Hafızali, a Hüsrev, and a Sa'id, but a young Sa'id. I offered many thanks to Almighty Allah. This time, in relation to the police officer and the investigators who sensed his visit beforehand and came to see me, I send you a matter asked by students so that you too may benefit from it. An answer to a question posed by the students of the Risale-i Nur who are permanently in the service of Ustad. Question: we have been serving you for so long now, and we have never seen you interested or curious in worldly, social, and political life. We do not see you ever engage with anything but the lessons of Iman and the hereafter. And we have found this to be your state for the last 18 years. Then why is it that, in Sparta, they stirred up the nation and sent you to trial when there was nothing happening? And after a 4-month-long investigation, the court could find nothing in connection with the world or with politics from 100 of your friends. What they did do was create an excuse that will forever embarrass themselves and their courts, whereby from among the 100 people, they sentenced only 5 or 10 of them with prison sentences of 5 to 6 months. Furthermore, you have lived under the supervision and watch of the police station for over 6 years, and you have had your every action watched by the police station from the window of your room. Despite this, up until 2 or 3 months ago, they had both secret and open surveillance on you, and by having inspections on you and having searches conducted numerous times so that your friends abandon you, why is it that they view you as a significant and intricate political person? We are both saddened by this and surprised by it. It is only in the last 2 to 3 months that we have been able to visit you freely. Previously, we would be afraid and could only visit you secretly. Can you explain this to us? The answer: like you, but in a far greater way, I too was left surprised and shocked at this state. The detailed answer to your question is in the 27th flash, which is the defense flash made to the court, and the Risale on the 16th letter. For now, I will briefly express one or two principles. The first: officials who are responsible for upholding public order and administration, and the military police and ranking officers, let alone suspiciously attack our method and be anxious of us. Rather, it is expected of them as part of their duties to in fact encourage and support us in a protective way. The reason is this: it is through the principle of respect, compassion, awareness of halal and haram, and obedience that they can sustain public order, the cornerstone of their duties in social life. When the Risale-i Nur looks at social life, it establishes these principles, and its results have actually been proven. If the municipal police fairly examine the Sparta and Kastamonu provinces, since they are the most important centers of the Risale-i Nur, they will see the brilliant assistance the Risale-i Nur has provided them when compared with other provinces. Also, those whose hearts have not been corrupted will see that, despite the abundance, power, and truth its students possess, they have never harmed public order, and 1,000 of its students have not harmed social life as much as 10 men. The mystery of the wisdom in this matter is this: the three supreme matters in the world of humanity and Islam are Iman, Sharia, and life. Since the truths of Iman are the greatest among these, so that these Qur'anic truths of Iman are not used as an instrument and are not subject to other forces, and so that those diamond-like Qur'anic truths are not reduced to fragments of glass in the view of those who sell or exploit religion for the world, and so that they can carry out to the letter the highest and most sacred duty of saving Iman, the Risale-i Nur's elect and loyal students avoid politics vehemently and with abhorrence. As you know, despite needing to for the last 18 years, this brother of yours has not once applied to the government so that I do not make contact with politics and social life. So too, for the last 8 to 9 months, I have not even once asked, queried, or wondered about this chaos that has overtaken the globe and made it a point of discussion. In fact, you will know that even now, I have no knowledge about whether there is peace, if the war has finished, or if anyone other than the British and the Germans are involved. Furthermore, all of you who are with me know that with the exception of 2 times, I have neither listened to the radio, which can be overheard from my room, and that has stupefied and rattled everyone, nor have I asked anything about it. Even the most unfair person will confirm how far from fairness it would be to raise suspicion and thereby put pressure on a method followed by such a person who is so disinterested and indifferent. Second principle: my brothers, all of you know that in our method we refrain from self-centeredness, egotism, and the desire for rank hidden under the veil of glory and honor, like they are a deadly poison. We refrain vehemently from states which resemble it. Indeed, you have seen for the last 6 or 7 years, and have realized through your investigations of 20 years, that I do not wish to attribute any esteem or rank for myself. I have seriously reprimanded you in this matter. I am offended by you giving me a rank that is beyond my due. However, on behalf of the Risale-i Nur, which is a spiritual miracle of the Qur'an in this age, and on account of my being one of its students, in praising Allah, I accept your affirmative submission and connection to it, especially when we have made it our principle to run away from egotism, self-centeredness, and the hypocritical states beneath titles of glory and honor, it is clear even to lunatics how meaningless and pointless it is for the governments, officials, and security to be suspicious of us. Said Nursi. My dear, loyal, and steadfast brothers, the spiritual victory of those who have suffered due to this calamity and their acquittal is of a nature that is pleasing not only to yourself and us, rather for all the people of Iman in this country. For it has opened the pathway for freeing the Risale-i Nur. Until now, we were forced to be cautious in many ways due to the fear of confiscation. For these last 18 years, and particularly throughout the 6 years here, I have experienced great difficulties in regards to hiding the Risales, and we were left to suffer anxiously. All praise and thanks be to Allah Almighty to the number of letters in the Risale-i Nur, that this time through its spiritual victory, it has ripped apart that oppressive and dark veil. With very little effort, it laid the groundwork for a great reward and vast conquest to be had. And, just like the incidents of our imprisonments, it made these 2 months period of stoppage a means for the Risale-i Nur to spread in a different way and in wider circles. We congratulate you all, especially those who have suffered due to this calamity, especially Hafiz Mehmet, and we share our well wishes. It is now certain, and we have no doubt remaining, that it is your extraordinary loyalty, utmost ihlas, unshakable firmness, and strong solidarity that dominated and prevailed over the court, which arrested 100 men for 100 days for only the Risale on the wailing of women, and made them unable to arrest for 1 man for a single day for hundreds of Risales. May Almighty Allah be eternally pleased with you. Ameen. My dear, loyal brothers, firstly, we congratulate you for this blessed 3 months, which can grant you a spiritual life of 80-odd years, and especially for tonight's Laylatul Regaib. Your acquittal and spiritual victory have left the tyrants baffled. Here, they have changed their tactical front. They have given up their hostile attacks and now try to infiltrate as friends and offer preoccupations like a public service or other time-consuming official positions through promotion or other forms of engagement so that they can hold back elect students from the Risale-i Nur's service. There have been many such incidents here, and this attack is the way seems more harmful. Secondly, an effective Nur has entered the secondary school here. This was the first point of the 32nd word, the points on the name of Ad, just, and Hakem, sapient, from the 13th flash up to the conclusion of the Risale on nature, and then the first station of Ayatul Kubra, the supreme sign, starting from, indeed, every voyager who comes to the hospice and the realm of this world, up until the truth of Hudus, createdness, up to Imkan, contingency, which is the 18th step, not including the steps of Ilham, inspiration, and Wahi, revelation. We permitted for this to be written out in the new alphabet after a spiritual warning. They copied it out for themselves with the typewriter. You too can bind these 4 parts with the new alphabet and, like a cannonball, launch it against the people of denial. As I am in a very weak, elderly, and powerless state this year, I kindly request the spiritual assistance of my young brothers during this blessed holy 3 months. We pass on our salam to each of them and pray for their peace in both worlds. Said Nursi. This letter is very important. My dear, loyal brothers, in recent times, I have considered the principles of taqwa and good deeds, which, in the view of the all-wise Qur'an, is regarded the highest principle after Iman. Taqwa is the abstaining from prohibitions and sins. Good deeds is acting according to divine commandments and gaining virtue. Repelling evil is always superior to attracting good, and in the age of such distraction, dissoluteness, and alluring desires, taqwa, which is this repulsion of evil and abstaining from major sins, is a fundamental principle and has gained significant precedence. With the intensified distraction and negative currents of this age, taqwa is the greatest principle that will counter this distraction. Those who perform the obligatory duties and who do not commit the major sins will be saved. In times like these, when major sins are prevalent, the likelihood of successfully achieving good deeds with ikhlas is extremely difficult. Also, under these conditions, even a minor good deed is considered as greed. Also, a form of good deed is present within taqwa. Since abstaining from a sin is wajib, religiously necessary, performing a single wajib has rewards equivalent to performing many sunnahs. In these times, due to the attacks of thousands of sins, a single act of abstaining from hundreds of sins with a simple deed is equivalent to performing hundreds of wajib. Through intention and under the name of taqwa, and with the purpose of avoiding sin, the significant point is the important good deeds which derives from passive worship. The most important duty for the students of the Risale-i Nur in this age is to act in accordance with the principle of taqwa against distractions and sins. Since in today's social life, hundreds of sins are attacking people every minute, indeed, taqwa and having the intention of refraining from sins is equivalent to performing 100 good deeds. It is well known that a building destroyed by a single person in one day cannot be built by 20 people in 20 days, and that, to withstand against the distraction of one person, 20 people are required. Now, against the thousands of destroyers, the resistance and effectiveness of a single repairer like the Risale-i Nur is extremely remarkable. If these two opposing forces were to be on par with one another, the miraculous achievement and success of this repair would be visible. In short, respect and compassion, which are the most important principles governing social life, have been greatly undermined. In some places, it presents itself with devastating consequences for the helpless elderly, fathers, and mothers. All praise be to Allah. In response to this terrible distraction, the Risale-i Nur is resisting and repairing whenever it enters. Just like the corruption spread across the world by Gog and Magog, Yejuj and Mejuj was through the destruction of the barrier of Zulkarnain, so too through the decline of the Qur'anic barrier, which is the Sharia of Muhammad ﷺ, a dark anarchy and tyrannical atheism more fearsome than Gog and Magog has begun to corrupt and cause mischief in life and morality. Confronted by such an event, the spiritual struggle of the Risale-i Nur students, inshallah, like the time of the Sahaba, will yield large rewards and good deeds with little effort. My dear brothers, in response to the fearsome events of this age, after the strength of Islam, our greatest source of strength is using the principle of partnership in deeds of the hereafter to strengthen and support each other's shields of taqwa and each forth with your words, and, in the same way, to send rewards to each other's register of good deeds with the scribing of your pens. It is to be expected from such heroic, truthful people possessing compassion and loyalty like yourselves that during these 3 blessed months and the well-known holy nights that you run to the assistance of this weak brother of yours while he is the target of intense attacks. I am requesting this spiritual assistance from you with all my spirit. On the condition there is iman and loyalty, through the principle of partnership in deeds of the hereafter, I share with the students of the Risale-i Nur all of my du'as and spiritual gains, sometimes more than 100 times a day, under the title of Risale-i Nur students. Said Nursi.